Solve the polynomial inequality 4 times the quantity x minus 2 squared times the quantity x plus 5 times the quantity x minus 4 less than 0. And we need to give our answer in interval notation and also justify our answer with the graph or sign chart. So first things first is let's find out where our critical points are. So remember, I like to start with drawing out a number line here, and the critical points are going to cut up our number line into intervals. So first let's take all of this, all of the factors, and we don't need the 4, we just need this, and I'm going to go ahead and factor this already. X minus 2 squared that's just x minus 2, x minus 2. Then you have x plus 5 times quantity x minus 4. Set all this equal to 0 because, again, the reason why I didn't include the 4 because there's nothing, I can divide both sides by 4, and so it eliminates the 4. But what I have to do is find the values of x that result in 0, so that way I know where to mark off the critical points, where to mark off on my number line. So here, these first two are the same, so I have a critical point at x plus 2, then x, critical point at x equals 2, I'm sorry. Then another one at x equals negative 5, and then x equals positive 4. So let's mark these off. Negative 5, positive 2, and then positive 4. And because this sign, the inequality is strictly less than, that means I'm not going to include, I can't include these values, negative 5, 2, and 4. So I have a open circle at these critical points. And so now I want to check off, I want to check the signs in each of these intervals. So I'll pick a value from this first interval, which I'll use f of negative 6. And when I plug in negative 6, I get a positive 2,560. All right, again, I'm taking negative 6 and plugging it in for x. So it should get positive 2,560. So I get a plus here. But look at what we're trying to deal with. We want the values of x that when we plug them in here, we get a negative outcome, okay? But if I pick a value in this interval down here, I'm going to get a positive outcome. So that means I need to exclude this interval. We don't want that one. Okay, let's go to the next one, which, let's see, from this interval I can pick a 0, and the result is negative 320. So I get a negative value, and that's what we want. Okay. Oops. So f of, okay, so from this interval I'll choose a 3, and I end up with a negative 32. Alright, so that's what we want. And then finally, from this interval here, I get f of, I'll use 5. Plug 5 in, and then I get positive 360. Okay, so I get a positive value, and we don't want that because remember, I want negative values. I want values that are strictly less than 0. Okay, so using my sign chart, I can see that I have two intervals here, negative 5 up to positive 2 and positive 2 up to positive 4. Graphing this, definitely is where your graphing calculator is going to come in handy. So I'll kind of sketch out what this thing looks like. if you graphed it correctly. All right, so you get something that kind of drops down here, and then it'll come up to this point, and this right here, by the way, is -5. Okay, and then we have +2 here. Then it does like this, and then comes back up like a W. All right, and then +4. So remember, we want all of the values that are strictly less than 0. So that gives us, you can see that this whole section here, all right, that's -5 up to +2. That's what we got over here with our sign chart. And then this section over here, which is +2 up to +4. All right, and that matches what we have over here. Oops, excuse me. That matches what we have over here, 2 to the 4. These are negative. We got negative values, and you can see the graph. It's below x-axis, so that's indicative of negative values or negative outputs. And everything else, the other two intervals, it gives us positive values, which we don't want. Okay, so let's go ahead and write our answer in interval notation, which, let's see, -5 up to 2 union with +2 up to 4.